The end of this arc it's close. We only have the final battle left between Lumir, Licht, and anyone who joins in against this devil. And looking back on the arc, I think the biggest thing that will have an impact on the series that people didn't really give as much thought as it was the fact that Julius died. And I know there's theories out there that Raditz is going to do something about that. I don't think so, not at least at the moment. But the fact that a lot of people were looking at it more from a reader's perspective. From Julius, we never saw too much about him. He's obviously a big important character, but we didn't know like much about his backstory. He had his moments, but it wasn't like I think a really good like equivalent like when All Might lost his powers in My Hero Academia. He was very frequent throughout the series, and the readers got to know him really well. The influence a lot of their characters had for him. But with Julius, a lot of the characters really that had personal aspects to him are the captains, because they grew up when Julius was a captain of the Ashen Deer, and now he's the Wizard King. What is it, 28th Wizard King? I always get 26th and 28th Wizard King messed up. But with that, we got to think about more following this arc of what exactly it's going to be like. And what I mean by that is it's really going to be the end of an era, because Julius Novachrono not only was the Wizard King, but he also clearly inspired a lot of these other people within the Magic Knights. And you look at someone like Yami or William Vengeance, you see like how much that he was able to get, like pretty much influence them to get them into the position that they were. Like before that, Yami was just he was pretty much just like a street thug, and William was like way too self-conscious about the burns on his face until Julius gave him the helmet that he wears, or at least wore, until we see moving forward. But from that, I think that once we get to a point in this story where the characters can mourn over his death, because we haven't had a chance for that yet. They've been complete and total mayhem like setting within this arc. They haven't had any real time to kind of like look at it. We saw Yami as he was kind of like starting to soak in the fact that Julius was dying, and Julius just wanted, you could tell he was just like, you still have work to do as a Magic Knight captain. You need to go and protect the people. You need to make sure that this massacre that the elves seem to be planning is not going to continue. And I think that obviously Yami and anybody else keep striving forward in the middle of this chaos and not mourning over it is very, very mature of them, very well put. But I think after this arc, when they're going to be able to be much more in a human state, like they're not going to be in this whole like throes of battle anymore. It's going to be calm and resting, but then they're going to be really able to really be able to let out like what exactly happened, and really just kind of like bring about what's going to happen moving forward, but also this loss. Like we're going to see probably more about Julius, like because we didn't get to get a lot about Julius's backstory. We didn't get a lot about him personally. We only got him interacting with like Asta and But I think it'll be very interesting to see more of like his backstory and his character from the perspective of the people he's influenced. Like when we look at people like, again, Yami, or maybe Jack the Ripper. When we find out maybe Jack the Ripper used to be like a horrible criminal, like you just kind of think about like Jack the Ripper, like the actual character, the actual person in real world like history. So I feel like Jack is going to have some darker aspects to his characters, stuff like that, or maybe it was because of Julius that he was able to turn around. We don't know. And the fact that he inspired so many people, and there's so many aspects of Julius that were very small and subtle when you think back about him. You think like when he was talking about, he was born with a coverless grimoire, time magic, he's very powerful, and he was thinking about his life, like what about that of him being special is important, and he came to the conclusion that what about is he pretty much kind of like he is himself. It's not like this set of, well, I'm special so I can do what I want, and he saw it as what he's become and where he's got to, bleeding up to be the Wizard King. And because of that, he wants to protect the people. And that's very similar to what Lumir had when he thought about why he was so powerful and why he had such a special magic with light magic. And that was that it's so he could protect others, so he can protect his kingdom. And that kind of like uh, mirror of that kind of mindset between Julius and Lumiere. We have the first ever Wizard King, and we have the most recent one, and they share that kind of ideal. We don't know anything about the Wizard Kings in between them. I mean, there's probably a lot of other ones that are much, very genuine compassion about, the kingdom and the people. We don't know if there's any in there that are that were bad, or what exactly the situation is. There's so many of them in there. We don't even know if we're going to find out their names or not. We don't know about. We'll probably find out, some along the line. I'm wondering if we'll find out all of them, but it really just speaks volumes about Julius and his character in general, the way he saw his job. He didn't think like he's the big powerful king, like we saw that with the Augustus Kara Clover, the actual king, like royalty of the Clover Kingdom. And he has that very like, I'm the king, I'm great mindset, and a lot of people don't respect that. Like they get that not only is Julius very powerful, he's an amazing wizard, but on top of that, he's also very genuine about what he does. He doesn't see his role other than a duty to protect his people, to live and serve and make sure that the people of the Clover Kingdom are safe and happy. So that's going to be really nice moving forward with that. It's going to be one of those sad moments when you can like think back about the character, what he's done, and what we find out more about him. Because like people love Yami. Yami is probably the most liked character within the series. There's still like I see most people like Asta, because usually if you read a series like this long, you like the main character. I've seen there's a lot of people that love Asta. Some people are like all right with him. Some people aren't too keen on him. But Yami is like All Might again. Pulling back into like My Hero Academia, you can look at a series. There's always at least one character that people just universally love, and people really like Yami. And I think the fact that you saw Yami and his flashbacks with Julius, and like the way that he, as throughout the series, has been this kind of like cold emotioned badass kind of guy, and you see him kind of just being rattled over this guy that he's known since he was a teenager, now dying before him. This guy that had this mentor kind of like appeal to him, like older brother, maybe father figure. And because now he's getting very emotional, you kind of are tied to that emotionally. It's like maybe you weren't too attached to Julius, but the fact that you're attached to Yami and seeing Yami react this way adds an extra layer of impact that Julius's death has. And again, I think it'll be really interesting once we get after this arc and we see like all these other characters who we've gotten used to, and they, they're giving their 2 cents on Julius and what exactly, he meant to them. And, probably like a couple page flashback about a time where he influenced them to, to get better, to strive forward, maybe help them in a darker spot. It's just going to be really cool. And it's going to be a really good storytelling aspect to really kind of get like Julius's character after the fact, which I think will be really nice, because then when you reread the series, it'll just be like, man, like rereading it and seeing like some of Julius's moments, you're going to be able to like get more feeling out of it, which is just going to be nice. But other than that, tell me in the comments what you thought about this. I was wondering, because a lot of people, again, I think we're thinking more of a character aspect, or from a reading aspect. Like, we never got a whole lot about him, so I wasn't too attached to him that he died. It was, and I've seen a lot of people like, oh, it's a waste because he was so powerful. But I was thinking more about the fact that, you have, again, all these people that looked up to him. And you have people like, again, Yami, this super badass guy, who now he's lost like his inspirational person, the person that clearly he looked up to, and that really helped him throughout his journey. But other than that, I really appreciate if you comment below on what's going on, what happened here, and your predictions moving forward. But other than that, I really appreciate if you thumbs up the video, befriend the like button and the subscribe button, and check out my other videos. Other than that, I appreciate everyone who's already subscribed, and I thank y'all for listening. Bye.